Let's get into today's topic. Y'all, I thought I was done, but let me do a baby mother apologies part 3. First, we're going to play this poem that I wrote for my baby father. It's an open letter to him. And then I'm going to talk about it because as I was reading it again, I'm like, there's some things that I really wanted to hit on. Like, this space is for those who really just need to hear some words that are healing, that will release them on this journey. And so let's get into it. This is called Distant Memory. Enjoy it. This piece is called Distant Memory. To my son's father, I've accepted the fact that for you, forgiveness looks like distance. But I wish distance didn't feel like a forgotten memory. I wish distance didn't feel like we never existed. Well, more so like he never existed, because I never cared too much about me. My memories of him feel like hugs. My tears a reminder of the pieces of heaven left behind. My sadness finally disappeared, and I broke agreement with grief that it was going to be for a long time. Time heals is a lie, because time could pass by and I'd be in the same place struggling to get by. By the way, does it feel like this for you? Too many times I've wondered, do you remember his birthday or even the day he died? Does he cross your mind, or has the pain been too unbearable that you keep it inside? Why does forgiveness leave a sting of distant memories? Although I'm extremely grateful for the father you seem to be becoming, I know we served as a painful lesson that you got the opportunity to retry. There's no redo in the sky, there's no redo for the love in the sky. Ain't no redo for all the nights I've cried, I've prayed, asked God for help to get by. But a part of me just wanted to know why. Why did you not care enough to try? You may try to lie to me, but you'll live with your own honesty. And honestly, I don't think you had the capacity to give more. And that's the realest truth that brings the most peace. There's no simple answer to past mistakes, but forgiveness is always the gate to healing. Like I said, time heals is a lie, because it's been the decisions I've made to move forward that have allowed healing to plant the seeds of hope. It's blossoming this year. I've had 8 years of my tears watering the soul, then healing crept in, and I truly had to say goodbye. I know that our paths crossing will always be a blessing to me. As I understand both unconditional love and the importance of continued forgiveness, I understand that sometimes memories are too painful to revisit. You owe me nothing, not even a hi hello. Your choice to heal belongs to you, even if that means that I feel left in the distance. Resistance to change would have kept me broken, soaked in sorrow, but I traded it for renewed peace and the ability to keep taking the leap every day to be better than my previous day. And that is my only prayer for you. To my son's father, I bid you adieu. So let's get into it. That piece I wrote, I think about maybe 3 or 4 years after I wrote the first open letter to my son's father. And I don't think he's ever heard it, which is fine. That's completely okay. I wrote it there more for me than I did for him to get it out. Forgiveness definitely needed to flow in order for me to get to this next point, which is forgiveness looks different for everybody. We have this viewpoint as society that, first of all, as baby mothers, we shouldn't have to apologize because they're the ones who messed up. And that's not true. That's not true. I apologize for, as much as I wasn't the crazy baby mother, there were things that I did that I could have done better or handled differently. And so I apologize for that. This whole baby mother apology chronicles is the ups and downs of what it's like to be a baby mother, going through the grief of being a baby mother, and then realizing and accepting that life was what it was. And baby mother is a title. I was the mother of that baby. But it doesn't have to be demeaning. It doesn't have to be negative. And it doesn't have to pigeonhole me in a cycle of anger or bitterness. And so when I started to understand forgiveness really is for you than it is the other person. Like, you could be sitting here watching them live their best life. And I mean, I watched him live his best life. I watched him go on trips. I watched him go out with his girlfriends. I watched him have other kids and love on them and tell them on Father's Day how proud he is of a father and how amazing it is to be a dad, while he completely ignored my child and didn't acknowledge him once. Like, man, those things hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched him live his life good. And I still had to be honest about how I felt, and then forgiving about about what was happening. I had to move on. I couldn't allow it to be the thing that destroyed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to build my own brick of peace around me, and that was really important for me. And so in forgiving, I actually realized that forgiveness can look like I forgive him, he forgives me. And although I've never actually done him wrong, or like at least, let me not say that I did do wrong things, but at least I didn't do him wrong in the way he did me. He is entitled to not have anything to do with me. He's entitled to walk away. He is entitled to build his own life. He is entitled to restart as if nothing ever happened. Now, I know he will carry the fact that he has a son for the rest of his life. Whether he tries to deny it, tries not to think about it, like, I know what's there. I know there ain't no way you can go through something so traumatic. And, I mean, there is a way, but I do believe he will remember that he has a son at some point. But forgiveness looks like him living happy on the outside, him not talking to me, and that is something that I had to be okay with. Because often we're taught that forgiveness means everything's all cool, everything's all good, and we just go back to how it was. We go back to talking, we go back to chopping it up. And that's not true for everybody. I forgive the people who sexually abused me. That doesn't mean that now we're going to be on the best terms and now we're going to talk and smile and laugh. Like, no. I forgive friendships that have gone wrong. But again, that doesn't mean that we're all good and we go back to how it needs to be. So forgiveness, when you understand forgiveness, it's for yourself and not for the other person. You recognize that you can't manipulate forgiveness. You can't use it as well, you forgave me, so you need to talk to me. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness is freedom. It's not shackles. I'm going to say it again. Forgiveness is freedom. It is not shackles. And if you can't get to a place where you can forgive and see the other person happy, you still have work to do. I still had work to do. I had to see him, clap for him, and be happy for him, knowing that one day I will have my own story of love, of family, of birthing another child. One day that will be my story. And I would want him, as well as everybody else, to clap just as loudly for me. I wouldn't want them to secretly hate it in their heart or be jealous or be upset. Like, I would want them to be genuinely happy. Or if they couldn't, go somewhere else. Like, stay far away from me. But I did want to talk about, because I realized I didn't touch on it, the actual process of grieving without him. That was challenging. I know sometimes they say that many families who go through really traumatic situations end up splitting up, end up divorcing, because both people are grieving in different ways, and there's a breakdown of communication, and so many things can happen when a child dies. But I really wished he was there for me. I really wished that I had somebody that I could share it with. And at the time, my ex-fiance, although he stepped in to be my son's father, although he stepped in to be that example and he loved him and cared, from what I know, he wasn't a place of solitude. Like, he chose to grieve in the way he did, and that was solo, which left me out. And I really wanted the man who helped me give birth to this kid, the one who helped me bring life, because honestly, as much as I wanted to be mad, angry, or whatever, without him, this child would have never come into this world in this way. It might have been another man, but this particular man, for whatever reason, was chosen to be the father of my son. His features, his laughter, his love for cars, like, he inherited things from his dad that I loved about him. And I really wanted to mourn that with his father. And he was in so much, I don't want to say pain, but he just wasn't open to that. And I had to be okay with that. And so it was a little challenging for me that I was like, his whole life I had to carry the brunt of it by myself. And even in death, I still had to carry this weight. Even in death, I still had to walk by myself. I still had to process this shit alone. I still had to cry out to God by myself. I didn't have somebody to pray with me over the fact that my son had passed, and like I was hurting over the fact that the life you created has died. I didn't have that with him. And that was really hurtful. That was really painful. And I had to keep reminding myself, he didn't even know my son. That to him, he's sad that a kid died, because who isn't sad when a child dies? But he really didn't have much connection to him. He didn't grow with him. He didn't raise him. He didn't talk to him. He didn't discipline him. He didn't show up to his appointments, and he wasn't there at the last moments. So he was really disconnected from this kid. To him, it could have been probably like just another kid. And that hurt. But I understood it. I tell you, understanding is a hell of a thing. When you get wisdom and understanding, when you ask God for wisdom and understanding, it'll open your eyes to a whole new world of things that you maybe would wish you didn't know, because now when you know better, you do better. But to things that bring peace, to things that you're no longer forced to endure by yourself, because you're like, that revelation makes so much sense. I get it. I cannot be mad that I have revelation of this. If anything, it is here to ensure that I don't drown in a sea of pity, in a sea of woe was me, in a sea of victimhood. Like, he was not there. There was nothing I can do about that. I had to let it go. And so, distant memory, that letter to him is me watching his life after my son. It literally started because I think it was Father's Day. I had logged on to Facebook and I had seen him like bigging up his daughters. And a part of me was really sad, because I'm like, what about your son? We just never existed, right? He had the pleasure of not the pleasure, but like, in a way, my son's death was like a blank slate for him. He didn't have to grow up with this constant like, oh, well, there's a kid that you're not taking care of, or there's graduation that you missed, or there's a wedding. Like, he didn't have to grow up with none of that. It stopped. All the fights over child support, all the money he gave, it stopped. And he was off the hook. 8 years, and this man was off the hook. And that was a poison that was threatening to come into my space, and I couldn't drink it. I had to keep drinking the good juice of forgiveness, the Lord's blessing of forgiveness, because that's what unlocked the healing. That's what allowed me to see that forgiveness looks differently. I cannot manipulate him into forgiving and wanting to talk to me, or being apologetic and wanting to be in my life. Like, we have two separate lives. We live two different ways. And for him, it might be that the way he had to heal was to not even talk about us at all. Like, it might be that he just locked us away in a vault, and he was just like, I'm just not going to touch that. And that might be the only way he's able to keep sane, because if he thinks about it over and over, it might destroy him, of how he wasn't there, of how he didn't show up, of how he spent so many years hating and being blinded by the truth that this was his son. It's really important that we don't walk through this earth hating people. The Bible says, love thy neighbor as thyself. People will do some really, really, really messed up things in this earth, I know. A lot of messed up things happen to me too. But the only way that I found freedom, the only way that I'm able to be here talking and sane, is because of giving it over to God. And I've allowed love to flow. That I've reminded myself that as much as I'm a daughter of God, He is a son of God. And we don't always do things perfectly the way our parents want. But that doesn't mean that their love ceases to flow. That doesn't mean that they automatically stop loving us. It's really important that we remember that we were designed, we made it here to earth. We fought out all the rest of sperm for this short time on earth for a reason. And to spend it in grief, to spend it hating, to spend it in anything but happiness and joy, and in peace, it's just a waste of resources, to be honest. It's just not worth the hassle. It's just not worth the journey. And so I really do, as I said in the letter, bid adieu to all the hurtful and vile things that we as baby mothers have had to go through. I really do bid adieu to society that says love has to only be with one specific person, the father of our child. I embrace the notion that love can come from different places. Love can be blended. Love can be beautiful. Love does not hurt in the way that we have experienced. Love is trusting. Love is building. Love is healing. And that's what I'm taking with me. Because that is a better reality than the other one. And I had this other poem. It wasn't to my son's father, but it was about the opposite side. Because I've lived in a building where I've seen women do the manipulating, do the holding back, do the you're not going to see your kid, like do all that childish nonsense. And I wrote about it because I was the friend of somebody who was being really hurt by this. And as much as we have the baby mother apologies, there really are some amazing baby fathers out there who do their best. But because society sometimes is geared to the women winning, they lose. They lose out big. At the end of the day, it's all about forgiveness. At the end of the day, it's all about communication styles and moving forward and not allowing childish hurts to be the one that screams the loudest. But most times people never even get there because they're not self-aware. They're not emotionally in tune to what's happening around them. So I wrote this next piece. As I close out the Baby Mother Chronicles, I wrote this next piece for the baby fathers out there who do their best, who show up, who are amazing men, who want to be fathers, who try their hardest not to let anger and all of that speak, and yet still they are shut down. So it's called Cash, Credit, or Soul. Y'all enjoy it, and we'll talk again. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Lips and Language podcast. My name is Kola. I am so excited that you are here. If anything I said today resonated, then get in touch with me. I have an amazing mentorship program. It is for those who feel misunderstood, overwhelmed, going through grief. It is truly an amazing time. If you want more info, hit my website, lipsandlanguage.com. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can hit it up on the website or DM me. I have a free gift for you, and I would love to be in contact with you. Whatever you decide, just know that healing, it looks good on you. And I'm so excited that we get to do this journey together. Have a blessed day. And if nobody told you, I will. I love you. Enjoy your day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.